Hey folks, welcome back to Real Southern Outdoors. Today I got a little project I want to get done, and we're going to be working in the carport tent here because we have a storm coming. And it's supposed to get nasty, some heavy rains, high winds and everything, so we're going to try to work in here so we can stay dry and hopefully get it done before the storm gets here. But what I want to do, I've got a little project I've been wanting to do for a little while here. This old winch I've had for several years. I used to use it on a little small trailer. Now I'm going to put it on this one. I've got a Gold Dredge. I've had a lot of people been asking me questions on the channel, you know, about my gold prospecting and stuff like that, and getting interested in it. So I think I'm gonna add some to the channel, some gold prospecting, and we'll see how it goes. See if y'all like it or whatever. You can let me know. But what I'm gonna be doing, this is the trailer I'm gonna set up to carry my Gold Dredge and everything with. Like I say, I used to put it on a smaller trailer, but now that smaller trailer, I'm converting it to my kayak trailer. So we got a lot of projects going on, so you just have to keep watching the channel to see what all we got coming for you this year. We've got a lot of things planned to get out and do some things. But what I want to do is add this winch, because it's just easy to pull that winch. If you're somewhere at a river and it's 100 feet from where you can park your truck or whatever, some of it's on embankments and stuff, it's just easier instead of trying to pull it up by yourself. You can take this little 2,500 pound winch you can get from Harbor Freight, and I have no affiliation with them. I just bought this thing years ago for like 50 bucks, and it works great. You put your ramps down or whatever, tailgate down, and you can winch your trailer right up in, or winch your dredge right up in your trailer, I should say. But what I'm gonna do, I've been looking at this thing. This box is really not big enough for any of my equipment other than maybe some wet boots that I would throw in there, and my weight vest and stuff, you know, some small items. So I think what I'm gonna do is just add this winch on the inside of this box. Okay, here's my mounting plate for my winch, and I need to line these holes up to go through this 4x4, because I'm gonna use this as a spacer in this piece of 2x8 or 2x10, whatever it is. And so I've lined it up just like this, where I want it, and I drilled out my holes through here. I just took a 3/8 drill bit, and I drilled out my holes that line up with my mounting plate there in the center. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up my holes here. I'm going to line it up on this 4x4 in the center, and I'm just going to get my holes started so I can see it, and then we'll drill them out. Now we got a mark for our holes. Let's just go ahead and drill them all the way out. What I want to do is put this down in here, and I want to put it right in the center. Now I can see my beam right here, this center beam for the tongue. I can see that, so I'm going to line those holes up right in the center of that. Let's drill these. Okay, I'll show you what we got here. I got that like 2x8 or whatever it is, 2x10 in the bottom, and then I got the 4x4. Got my bolts stuck through there. And there's got the nuts on the bottom. I just got them kind of caught in there right now so they don't fall through. But we're gonna get this mounting plate. Get it put on, and I can do it with both hands. It should drop, but I might have to wedge it. There we go. So I'm gonna put that on there, and I'm gonna get my holes drilled here, get everything measured out, because this has got to go on the outside. But I need to get my measurements and I'll figure out exactly how I want it, so, or where I need to cut it rather. So. Okay, I've got this piece mounted out here, just temporary. Just stuck the bolts through there and kind of run them up finger tight just to hold them. And you can see I got my mark here. I took some chalk, marked it, and we're going to cut this out. But I needed to get that up there to mark it. I guess y'all can see that. There you go. So we're going to cut this out. Okay, I just used my little grinder cutting wheel there, and I cut this out right here. Now I touched it up with some paint and everything. I filed the edges down, ground them down. Now I'm gonna mount this back, and we'll get it bolted down, and I'll show you what's next. Okay, we got that mounted. So now let's go on to the inside. You can see what it looks like from in here. This plate bolts through, you know, so, and that's bolted it. So now we're gonna get the winch mounted. Okay, we got everything bolted in. Those 3/8 bolts, lock nuts, washers. Got 2 of them right there, you know, they bolt up there in the bottom. So that's going to hold that in. That's going to hold all the pressure that I will need. Now I just got to get my wiring run out. I think I'm going to run it through the bottom, come up the tongue there. So let me get that drilled out and grommet in it and everything, and we'll move on. Okay, I don't know if you can hear me real good because it's pouring down rain out there. That storm's got here, but I drilled 4 holes right here where I want my cable to go through this into the bed. So I'm gonna take my jigsaw and cut this out. Okay, now we've got a hole we can get to our winch cable, pull it out, and it'll be just above the floor of the trailer. That way we can winch our dredge right on in. Let's put this back in place. Now, I've taken the cable off of this winch, and I'll get a close-up shot and show you down in here. But what I'm going to do, I've got this synthetic rope cable. It comes from Vibor, I guess is how you say it. I got it pretty cheap, and the rating on it, I forget what it was, but it's way more than I'll ever use for what I'm pulling. But I wanted to get rid of that cable because, you know, it frays up, gets a little wire pieces in it. If you're working it, holding it with your hand or whatever, pulling, you get those little slivers and all in your hand. Well, this rope here, you know, it's a whole lot easier on your hands. It's more flexible and everything, so it just works better. So I'm getting ready to put it in, and how it installs, you see a lot of them, they just have this little eyelet like, I guess you want to call it, that's on the end. You put a screw that goes in the hub, well, or in the spool. Well, this one just had an Allen bolt, or that went down in, Allen head bolt I should say, that went down in there. Your cable slid through a hole and you tightened it up on it. So what I did, I just took that Allen screw out, and I just found a flat head like this screw. It was actually a little long. I put a nut on it and then cut it off the hacksaw and then took the nut off so it fixed the threads. But I'm going to push it through that eye and put it through that eye, and I'm going to screw it down in the hub here, and or the spool, and I'm going to put this cable on. So let me get the camera, I'll get you a close-up shot and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, you can see that hole right there where the screwdriver is. That's where my screw is going to go into. Over here, that's where the cable from Harbor Freight, they had run it through there, and that little Allen head went down in here and tightened it up and held it in place. But this one, we're going to put with the bolt it right to the spool right there with this screw. Okay, you can see how I've got the cable bolted down. Well, it ain't cable, but this synthetic rope, and it comes right through there, through the back of the trailer, or the front of the trailer. I got the rope goes through there. What I'm doing is to put tension on that cable so it'll pull up tight on that spool. I've hooked it to my lawnmower, and I'm winching it using that weight of the lawnmower to keep that cable stretched tight, or that rope stretched tight, so it won't be all bunched up on there. Okay, you can see we got the winch cable on. Now it'll probably pull better. I got a little more tension on it. It might tighten it up in there, but I believe that winch cable is longer than the one that come with that thing from the factory, because it wasn't that full. So it might not have been but maybe 25-30 feet. But if you look, I got a little box here put out of plywood that'll cover the head there, and then my hook and everything. And I'm gonna, after this paint dries, I'm gonna caulk it down through there. That'll help keep a little water from running out, or running in rather. Now let me show you something else. If you can see, camera just, this is my ramps. I had them fixed on the other little trailer, kind of like this, and had it where I could lock them where they wouldn't fall out, or somebody couldn't just walk by and pick them up. Let me see if you can see that. I drilled a hole in the frame, run a lock through it, and you can see I run a chain through it like that and run it back up and lock it. Put it in the lock and I can lock it. Now these things can't just slide out. And I always have my ramps with me. I like that better than taking them and put them in the truck. But since we've done so much work to the truck or the Suburban, we don't want them there. So we got the lights is on it now. The winch is in there, set up. Later on we'll redo the floor, but this season we'll probably use it like it is. I do have to go get a plug here. I gotta go get one of them. As you can see, that one has drugged the highway on that little trailer. It's messed it up. But anyway, there it is. Instead of a jack in a box, we got a winch in a box. So, and like I say, I have room for my weight belt, stuff like that, some shoes or something. But I really just like the winch being in there out of the way and out of the weather. So, all right. Okay guys, let me show you what I did. I changed this because you see I put some carriage head bolts in there so that thing will be flush and low, because these big nuts here were sticking up so high front and back that when this rope was spooling up on this winch, it is getting real close and wanting to rub right on those. So I figured that was going to cause a problem, so I went ahead and took this winch back off, put me some carriage head bolts there, and since I had these two, I just transferred them to the back, and I went through there, drilled some new holes, and bolted them down there. So there's no way from what I'm pulling this thing's ever going to go anywhere, and all that's 3/8. So that's just to let you know, if you do one just like this, you might want to go ahead and put carriage head bolts in them. I had to go somewhere else and get them because Lowe's didn't have them the first day I went, the length I needed. So anyway, there it is. Okay, there we go. We got the winch mounted in the box there. And like I said, we still got a room for like our boots and everything, maybe a weight belt and all. But I just kind of like it in there, being out of the weather and everything. So, and don't forget, don't do like I did, put bolts in there and then have to go back and pull it out. Put your carriage head bolts in there to start with, and you won't have to go back and redo it. But we got everything set up. The trailer is ready to go for the dredge and all. We got our ramps up under the bottom there where we can put them in place and they'll stay there. So now we got to check the dredges out and get them ready because it's warming up and we'll be ready to hit the creeks and the river. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know what you think about it in the comments below. As I always say, don't forget, hit that like and subscribe. And until next time, may God bless you.